You have MJ, which was once this great character that helped Peter throughout the years as a girlfriend, then a wife. Now she's Zendaya. She doesn't look the way Mary Jane Watson should look. Just look at any illustration of the character. John Romita Sr., Todd McFarlane, or the controversial but still great J. Scott Campbell. MJ does not look like Zendaya, and they do everything they can in all three of these movies to separate her from the original character. She's just this ugly bitch going around punching people in the nuts, making smart comments towards everybody in the film. That is not Mary Jane Watson. And that's all these people want to do. They want to make Spider-Man black. They want to make MJ some ugly, racially ambiguous person. And all of that bullcrap brings us up to your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. And just take a look at it for yourself.
Somebody help me! He's running, grab him! Gotcha! I thought it was Dan Meat.
So Harry Osborn is some black tranny. And Norman Osborn is also black, and Peter Parker, instead of being the character that Steve Ditko and Stan Lee originally envisioned him as, is now a soy boy that is almost more similar to an anime protagonist. I'm not even going to give this show my time. Why would you even talk about this? The show is a dumpster fire. 2 people are going to watch it. It's going to get cancelled after a season, and then we're all going to go back to living our lives.
This is Ranting for Vengeance, talking about the new Disney Plus show, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spiderman. A lot of people in the nerd space, including me, haven't really been huge fans of his critiques. But then I found out he's just 15. So now I kind of feel bad for talking negative about him. Regardless, he's still totally wrong about Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and I'll explain why in a second. Before we get to that though, a lot of people are saying that Ranting for Vengeance is a racist for not liking that they race-swapped Harry and Norman Osborn. And so for all of those people who think you're a racist if you're against race swaps, or who think that Ranting for Vengeance is the most racist guy on the internet, it turns out that you are totally wrong. I found this very obscure guy who is for race swapping Harry and Norman Osborn, but in terms of being the most racist guy on the internet, he's certainly way worse than Ranting for Vengeance. If you want to see what I mean, let me show you. But real quick, for some context, this guy was talking about how he's really upset with Ryan Kinel. And while I'm not a fan of Ryan Kinel, it's for different reasons than this guy. Kevin Kyle Kennedy is his name. With that being said, let me play the clip.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Kevin Kyle Kennedy, and I hope all of y'all had a white Christmas. My Christmas was very white, and I hope yours was as white as mine. I was just at the barbershop getting my head shaven. I saw this video here by Ryan Kinel. Now, there are plenty of people on the internet, I'll say, that are very dangerous for the white youth of our day. The youth of our day, they be listening to music that corrupts their minds and watching movies that makes them want to be a miscegenating. And then there'll be people like Ryan Kinel, who I dare say are wolves in sheep clothing. They want to be telling us that they see these problems and that they're fighting against the poison that's trying to corrupt the minds of the white youth. Ryan Kinel is the least based person you'll find on the internet. The prime example, let's take a look at how he reacted to this new Spider-Man movie. Ryan Kinel is having a full-blown meltdown because he's mad that they made Harry and Norman Osborn black. And for nearly 10 minutes, Ryan Kinel be ranting about statistics and all sorts of DEI hogwash nonsense.
This is something that they've had this forever. This is ABC, but it's the same thing. Like, you could find it under Disney Plus inclusion standards. It's actually the same thing. Basically, standard A, on-screen representation. At least 3 of the following 5 areas need to be met to fulfill standard A. So they're looking to fulfill like standard A. 50% of more regular and recurring written characters come from underrepresented groups. Actors, 50% or more of regular and recurring actors come from underrepresented groups.
But yeah, people are going to have a problem with race swapping characters whenever you do it, especially a character like Norman Osborn.
Well, the fact that they follow these guidelines, then yes, they literally just looked at a character and said, well, we've got to like hit the standard, you know, that we put out ourselves. So let's just pick a character and do it. And that'll be the end of it. Now we've met our standard to, I don't know, end racism.
Ryan Kinel will have you believe that he is trying to protect the white youth. Need I remind you of one thing? Norman Osborn is a Green Goblin, a violent criminal. And Ryan Kinel, let me ask you this. Why don't you step off your high horse for 1 second? You want to talk about statistics and DEI and all that nonsense? Well, let me ask you to go to the FBI database and look up which demographic is responsible for 90% of the violent crime. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I am Kyle Kevin Kennedy, and I hope that you like and share it with others. Don't forget to subscribe. Have a great rest of your day.
Man, that guy was really crazy. You know, honestly, I bet if you guys were to try and look up his channel, it probably wouldn't exist now. Not because I invented Kevin Kyle Kennedy for a stupid gag, but because his channel had way more offensive clips, which were actually against the YouTube TOS, and they ended up getting flagged by someone. Now, with regards to Ranting For Vengeance, I do disagree with him about his review for Your Friendly Neighborhood Spiderman. The biggest issue I have is with this part right here.
And that's all these people want to do. They want to make Spider-Man black. They want to make MJ some ugly, racially ambiguous person. And all of that bullcrap brings us up to Your Friendly Neighborhood Spiderman.
You know what's wrong with Your Friendly Neighborhood Spiderman Ranting For Vengeance? It needed more race swaps. There weren't enough race swaps. Spider-Man shouldn't be white. And to prove it, let me show you a show which was better than this one, which race swapped Spider-Man and just about every other character you could imagine.
Spider-Man!
Introducing Japanese Spiderman. This Spider-Man isn't sulking around about how self-conscious he is about his own body. He also isn't worried about going on dates with girls. He is the emissary of hell, the face of vengeance, and the giver of death. You see, there's this alien force called the Iron Cross Army, and they completely genocided the planet Spider, only leaving one survivor named Garya. Garya barely managed to escape the onslaught in this leopard mech spaceship called the Marveler, but the Iron Cross Army pursues him, and he's forced to hide in this cave in Japan for 400 years. There, Garya awaits for some brave hero to take up this mantle to avenge his genocided people. He reaches out telepathically trying to find this hero, and after 4 centuries of isolation, he finally manages to discover a hero. He finally discovers one man who can take up this mantle, someone who is able to perceive his psychic communications. One of the things I was thinking about while watching Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is, well, maybe the race swaps aren't that big of a deal since this is an otherworld story. And maybe it's a way to show that this world is starkly different from the Spider-Man world we know. In this version, he didn't go inside a laboratory and get bitten by a radioactive spider. Instead, Dr. Strange accidentally opened up a portal to Peter Parker's school, and a radioactive spider fell from that hole and bit Peter Parker on the neck. His suit is different too, and he receives a lot of help from Norman Osborn. He becomes his eyes and ears, sort of like Oracle was to Batman. I don't have an issue with Marvel trying to experiment and put their characters through these what-if scenarios. You can only do the original formula so many times. But between these two Elseworld stories, I have to say the Japanese one is a lot more creative. This Spider-Man doesn't get bitten by a radioactive spider. Instead, Garya the alien from the planet Spider gives him spider extract, which gives him spider powers. I wonder if I can pick up some spider extract from the grocery store. Shortly after giving Spider-Man these powers, Garya ends up dying. Kind of? Well, he transforms into this spider, and he psychically communicates with Spider-Man, sharing a similar mentorship role as Norman Osborn from Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. And Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man didn't have the creativity to give Peter Parker a giant mech. He doesn't fight any space dinosaurs either. And yes, it did have some very corny special effects. But that's one of the things I don't really like about Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. The animation is also extremely corny at parts. When I reacted to the trailer, I did mention that some of the fight scenes and him swinging were quite dynamic. And while my assessment was correct, at least about the scenes which I had seen in the trailer, after watching the show I can tell you there are multiple parts where the animation is very stiff. Maybe some people will really enjoy Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man as an Elseworld story, and that's fine if you're one of those people, but in my opinion, the king of all these Elseworld Spider-Man shows is definitely the Japanese one. I think it would be super cool if Marvel got the Japanese Spider-Man and ended up making a comic book in a similar continuity, using a lot of the same ideas, but maybe improving them in some areas. And this is why I feel that Ranting for Vengeance may have been wrong about race swaps. Maybe we should just make everybody Japanese. Do you think I'm wrong? Let me know in the comments section. Also, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a great rest of your day.